Hey guys, HW. I'm outside the Botanic Gardens in Sydney and I'm staring at the Palace Garden gates. Now, as you know, I've lived in Sydney most of my life and I've filmed these gates before. And until recently, I saw a guy on Instagram talking about these very gates just the other day. And I had no idea of the significance of them. The reason why it's called the Palace Garden Gates is there actually used to be an enormous building in the Botanic Gardens there. And I'm going to get my phone out in a second and tell you a little bit about that, reading directly from the material that's available on the internet. But I had no idea. The number of times I've walked through here and had no idea that there used to be a place the size of a palace inside there. Let me get my phone ready. Just before I do, look at the delightful birds of paradise behind me, growing outside the Botanic Gardens. And let's quickly do the weather before I focus back on the gates. The weather in Sydney today is 28 degrees Celsius. And weirdly, over the last couple of days, it's been like 30 degrees nearly every day. But the wind's coming from the south, and it's coming from the south today as well, at 17 kilometres an hour. But it's hot. I've never known a southerly breeze to come through and not cool the place down. And tomorrow it's going to be 35 degrees Celsius. So go figure. Now back to the gates and the palace. Watched a few runners run through inside the gate then. So apparently there was a massive building, and I'll inset a photo of the building here now. But there was a huge building in here that was an exhibition building for the Sydney International Exhibition held in 1879. And later it was used for government offices and shops and a few other things until it was destroyed by fire in 1882. And apparently the fire got a hold of many government records, so that may have been a reason why the fire was lit in the first place. Someone was probably trying to get rid of some records. But yeah, I had no idea this building existed in Sydney and never heard about it before. And I was a keen history student at school, and whether they did ever speak about this place, I don't remember it, and I certainly had no reference to it at all. So maybe when it burnt down in the fire, they didn't give a toss about it after that. But at least the gates to the place still exist over there. So let's have a closer look. Yeah, so I filmed these gates before. And something interesting that I read yesterday, apparently when this palace was here, and it was modelled off the Crystal Palace in London, but this one was actually taller. And at one stage, or back when this was actually standing, this palace was taller than any building in London. So it's a nice sandstone fence anyway. So there you go. See, I tell you, every time I come into the city, I learn something new. But now what we're going to do is we watch this ibis take a stroll into the Botanic Gardens. I'm going to get around a few of the traps in the city, see what's going on. Let's get to it. Let's rejoin the stroll on Macquarie Street. Just walking past the State Library. It's Thursday today in old Sydney town. And all the workers are heading back into the office. The school kids are back at school. A few people have scurried back into Sydney from their overseas holidays. There's a hell of a lot of traffic around. I really noticed it yesterday. When I left home, the sun was out. It appears this southerly breeze is pushing the clouds up. And it's become a bit overcast now. And I'm sure the sun will come out again. And you come up to Macquarie Street and walk along here, you always see a lot of tourists about. Because of course they get up to the Archibald Fountain up the road there and take their photos, and then they get across to St Mary's Cathedral, and then they walk down Macquarie Street to Botanic Gardens, and then get down to Circular Quay. There's something happening at Parliament House today. There's a news crew over there getting set up to have the backdrop of Parliament House behind them as they do their report. Either that, or they're probably implementing some new rule or law that they're going to have a yuck about. Let's get into Martin Place and see what's going on. See if they've made any more progress on all the buildings for the extension of the metro. All the Sir Lunchalots are still out, picking up their food and scurrying back to the office. What's this? I've never bothered to look at this statue either. Who's this? James Martin, 1820 to 1886. A 12-year-old striding off from home in Parramatta to high school in Sydney. This Irish-born boy overcame poverty and discrimination to become Premier and Chief Justice of New South Wales. There you go, James Martin. Never bothered to stop at that statue, and I've walked through here hundreds of times. Jaywalk across the road. At least they got rid of all that ugly building scaffolding there that they had there. Just there. It's a delight to see that gone. Lad's got some fish and chips. She's got some fish and chips. He's got some KFC over there. Busy Elizabeth Street. Buses galore. He's got some sort of poke bowl there. He's got a kebab or a falafel roll. That couple back there, we're tucking into some Smith's crisps. Do you remember the gobble jock? Oh, commercial building owners, rejoice! The masses are back. For how long, I don't know, but for now. I love these little chairs and tables they have out in Martin Place for anyone to use. Grab your bush tucker and sit out in the sun when it is sunny. Overcast today. Where's that music coming from? That's that guy up on the wall. He's doing his own little protest, I think. No Keanu, Neo, no woman in red. So it's actually quite warm and humid at the moment, but a lot of the gents are still walking around in their bags of fruit. Obviously trying to hide a few sins from the summer holidays. Worried about the size of their stomach hanging over their belt. So get the old jacket on to hide their sins. We know what they're doing. Plenty of punters on the stairs of the GPO over there, having their lunch, watching the world pass by. If you ever come to Sydney, I recommend you grab some takeaway food and sit on the stairs there. I think I've told you before, but it's a true delight sitting there and watching the workers and tourists and everyone else get about their business. It's a great little spot. About to hit the big G, George Street. I don't know whether I said before, but it's a delight to be back in the city. The last couple of vids I've been driving, been stuck in the car. And that's more to do with it being school holidays than anything else. And also very hot. But look at George Street. George Street's pumping at lunchtime as well. As I know for a fact, because watching YouTube every day myself, different people around the world, there's plenty of cities that aren't as busy as this. A lot of cities that haven't come back from from the Pando. But Sydney's looking like it's making a big comeback. Here goes little bike courier, handing off the lunch orders. Battery change achieved. Let's keep going. Gonna have to grab a nectar at some stage too. This guy better not get his wheels stuck in the track. Now whether you can hear the bells of the GPO clock. Yeah, it has become quite overcast. What a shame. Just hoping to show you a bit of sunshine. Haven't had a nectar in York Street for a while. Let's go see if we can rustle up one there. Yeah, but I'm really enjoying being on the hoofs again, walking around the city. Saw these ropes here and I looked up. And there's the window washers up there. Hope they don't drop anything. Sorry. Forbes, the old Forbes hotel still shuttered up. Let's turn up here, Tessuto. Yeah, Tessuto, I've never noticed this before. Nice little coffee shop. Should we get a coffee and industry beans here? Or should we get it somewhere else? Oh, that Five Guys sign reminds me. I had a Five Guys burger when I was in Miami back early last year, and it was a delight. But then I had one here a probably about a month or so ago now. I'm not going to name the store. There's a few of them in Sydney, but it was awful. And I've noticed this a bit around Sydney lately. It seems that a lot of burger joints are trying to save a few bucks by adding filler to the meat. And when I had the burger at Five Guys, and I won't name the store, it definitely had a filler in it. I don't know whether it was hamburger helper or something, but it didn't taste like proper meat. And I've had a few of those around Sydney recently, so it's a real shame. They'll do anything to cut corners and save a few bucks, it appears. For old time's sake, we could grab a takeaway coffee from 60 York over there, where they used to serve those awesome little paninis, little baguette sandwiches. No, I don't want to take the risk. I need a good nectar. I think I'm going to go back and get one from either Liable or Industry Beans. I'll have a look at the crowd in here. This queue doesn't take too long. Can I get a small flat white to take away?
Yep, anything else?
No, that's it. James?
You working around?
Yeah, wait here. Take away.
Oh, you work around here? Do you work?
$5.70 for the nectar. I was really tempted to get one of these juices, this watermelon, green apple and strawberry and lime for $7. But I'm dying for a coffee. Yeah, I was going to say this mob Industry Beans, I think they originally started out in Melbourne and then branched out to some of the other cities like Sydney. But this store here has been here for quite a while. Used to come here quite a bit. Flat whites secured in Industry Beans. Let's sneak through this little lane onto George Street, and I'll consume it there as we watch the goings on in George Street. Let's just see if we can find a spot where we can put the camera down so I can have my nectar. Let's use this little bollard over here. That'll work. That'll work. Cheers. Should be able to see the punters walking out of the mid-city centre. Goes the tram out to Randwick. Plenty of electric bikes, share bikes strewn around the joint this morning. Probably people that live a bit closer to the city in the inner west and the eastern suburbs have probably used them to get into work this morning. Right along with the wind in their hair as they make their way to the orifice. There's that Chinese Lunar New Year tram, specially painted tram. I keep calling them trams. You're supposed to call them light rail, but stuff it. I'm going to call them trams. What's this vehicle doing driving up George? Ah, it works with the light rail. I'll give it a pass then. I think that'll do. I've almost finished my nectar. We'll get going again. Oh, that's it for the nectar. Let's start making our way back to Martin Place. Just a relatively short walk today. Getting back into it for 2025. Oh, bugger it, we'll sneak through the Strand, eh? It is my favourite arcade in Sydney after all. Still plenty of tourists around. A lot of people sucking down coffees outside Gumption as per usual. I wonder if anyone that sees me walking past, I wonder if they ever jump on YouTube and try to find themselves on the film. Because I do when I'm overseas and I'm walking around. I try to find myself on people's YouTube channels if I happen to stand in front of somebody's vlogging camera. I hopefully make it easier for people to find themselves. Oh, listen to this guy. Yeah, what I was saying about making it easy for people to find themselves if they come for a holiday to Sydney and they happen to step in front of my camera lens. I usually date my vids So you should be able to search in YouTube if you happen to be in Sydney on a particular day, and you search that day, and something like, I don't know, something like Sydney walking tour or Sydney walking tour with commentary or something like that, you should come across one of my vids. Be able to look for yourself on a particular date. Those bagpipes back there, it almost split my head in half. It was just a real grating sound. Usually I don't mind them, but for whatever reason the pitch of that one got to me. I might as well keep going all the way up to Elizabeth and then chuck a left. Let's run over Castlereagh. Oh look, there's a Patek Philippe, or however you say it, those expensive watches. Didn't know they had a shop there. Let's see if there's anybody enjoying a sherbet at lunchtime outside the veranda bar. Right there's having a coffee and a dart. Yeah, there was a few downing some schooners back there. But I'll say it for the 100th time, it's great to be back in the city walking around. Especially now that all the punters are back in the orifice and the kids are back at school. Let's sneak through here. You got to watch it these days when you do that, because I don't know how many years ago the law changed, but it used to be the motorcycles used to have to wait like everyone else, but now they're permitted to sneak through the traffic in between the cars. So you always got to look left or right depending on what part of the road you're crossing to see if there's not a motorbike sneaking through. Back in Martin Place and about to sneak into the Martin Place station and skedaddle out of the city. 5 seconds, go! Let's make our way back over to Martin Place Station on the Hunter Street side. I should explain. So before I walked too far to the east, which would have taken me into the old train line, which would take me out to Bondi Junction or Sutherland the other way. So what I need is the metro line. So I'm going to go down here, get on the metro line. So I stand down into the bowels of the metro station at Martin Place. Well, thank you for coming on the little skirt around the city today. On a quite warm day, even though the wind's blowing from the south. Shocker. And we'll look up as well, back up to Hunter Street. I'll see you in the next vid. The video is over.